democracy's basement to your ears. This is the weekly meeting of the Queen City Improvement Bureau. Each week, the dedicated staff of the Bureau meet to file reports, make recommendations, and survive on the water that drips from the boiler pipes into our open mouths as we sleep on a bed of dot matrix printer paper, wearing little nightcaps. Super cute. One day, maybe, we'll escape from the subterranean hell that is this basement, but until that day comes, this city is not going to improve itself. So, here we stay, improving things. This meeting is now in session.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Oh, man, spring has sprung.
The mold is in full bloom.
It is. The fungus is on the walls.
Yeah, fruiting bodies everywhere.
And a young man's fancy turns to thoughts of escape.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, not mine.
Not yours?
No, not really.
You-
I get more content in the spring.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm content to think of escape.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, gives me something to
Something to hope for?
something to hope for. A little target.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what else is going on apart from like spring sprunging?
Just things. I'm enjoying the new atmosphere. I'm also hallucinating from the fruiting bodies.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why I want to stay here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can't, you'd have to pay for this kind of experience out there.
Right?
Here, it's just part of living.
You'd have to go to the Amazon, pay tens of thousands of dollars,
Yep.
hike into the wilderness.
Yep.
Which, who's going to do that?
Research
Not
spiders.
me. Research spiders. Yeah. Research spiders.
That's right. You research spiders. Then
you're doing research on spiders. You're not like going out there with the research spiders.
No. These spiders.
In their
I'm
little
talking
spider
about.
labs.
Yes, they've researchers have developed a kind of spider that will do the research for them.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's like programming, except they just raise spiders.
Yeah.
And spiders, you may not know this, but spiders actually are like, I think, at least 4 times as efficient as humans.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of all the legs.
Extra limbs.
They can do more things at once.
Y'all thought AI was coming for your jobs.
Nope, it's
and
spiders.
why you weren't looking. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them actually exist in 5 dimensions.
It's true.
They can crawl along the edges of your dimensional shape.
Yep.
And appear at multiple points within your life.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I think they actually they've done all this promoting the AI to trick us into thinking that we don't have to worry about the spiders.
Exactly. And meanwhile, the spiders are getting into crypto.
Yeah.
They're making moves.
They started crypto. Who are we kidding?
They bought an island off Gibraltar. Yeah. They're doing great.
All started with the World Wide Web.
Oh. Da da da.
Yeah.
Yep. That's it. Our overlords, bunch of spiders.
Yep. I'm okay with it though.
Yeah,
it could be worse.
It could be much worse.
It could be worse. It could be some South African hopped up on ketamine.
These things are possible.
Who's basically a Nazi. That would be worse.
Yeah, it could be some absolute charisma void who refuses to pass a security check. Who knows?
Who knows? Anyways, should we do attendance?
Yeah. I mean, we can always. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. First off, I don't know who this person is. Uncle Payhead.
Uncle Payhead?
Uncle Payhead.
No, there's no Uncle Payhead here.
Uncle Pay. I'm calling Uncle. Hold on. Sorry, I mixed up the letters. It should be Paul Duchesne?
That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uncle Payhead. It's actually Uncle Payhead, but that sounds wrong.
That sounds weird.
Yeah, that sounds like something from a novel.
Yeah.
You're a literary figure.
Ooh. From a Thomas Pynchon.
That's exactly it.
The new one.
The new one,
only 300 pages.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Tell me more about this.
That's
just
all
heard.
I know. I can't remember the name because I just saw this on Blue Sky like today, and it's somebody was like burying the lead, and the page count is like 300 and something pages.
Well, so it's like Vineland, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Pynchon likes to alternate his. It's true. It's not my fault. His name's pronounced so douchily.
I think we may have officially driven off the last of our listeners now. Okay, that's enough. If they're gonna be talking about Thomas Pynchon
and insisting on the correct pronunciation, and we're like, are the new listeners gone yet? Are the old listeners gone yet? Are they all gone?
Anyways, who else is on the attendance?
Okay, this is weird because this second person isn't even a person. It's a craze that's sweeping the nation.
Oh, really?
Dragon Mania.
Dragon Mania?
Dragon Mania. All the kids are into, like, dragons, and they're manic about them.
Are you talking about, like, dragons, like, flying in the air, breathing fire, sitting on piles of gold, or, like, getting into a car and, like, revving the engine and, like, stomping on the pedal? And
What do you think? Do you think this is a George Lucas film?
Mania.
What are you talking about? No, I'm talking about the things that go flying around and sit on the gold.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's really why people like the dragons. They're following them back to their big word hordes. Well, no, that's a...
Okay. So it's not like horny dragons.
Horned?
Horny.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe depending on the time of year, maybe spring.
Maybe
a young dragon's
horny dragons
turn to. Why are we talking about horny dragons?
Because I think there's still a listener or two.
Oh, okay, right, yes. Okay, good. Yeah, we can get rid of it that way.
Yeah.
Good one. I mean, that's one thing that Thomas Pynchon, I think it's Pinchot. That's one thing that Thomas Pinchot has actually never written about. Maybe
dragons.
He probably has.
No. I don't know. Maybe
he's written about everything else.
Yeah, no one would know.
No one got past page 500 of Against the Day.
Yeah,
might be all like erotic dragon fic after page 500.
Yeah,
it's my favorite novel of his.
Really?
Although I've only read up to page 500.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's great. Anyway, good book. Well, this is embarrassing.
What?
It's not Dragon Mania. I've mixed up the letters.
Oh, no.
So hold on. Should be Aidan Morgan.
Which is you.
Me. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And maybe there's a mania for you, too, though.
Oh, Aidan Mania. Yeah.
Aidan Morgan Mania.
Morgan Mania. It's sweeping the Safeway on 13th. Ah! Look out. It's Morgan. It's Aidan Morgan. He's buying natural peanut butter. He's tearing up the aisles. I don't know.
That's what they say about you.
That's what they say. Yeah, there's a sign like beware Aidan Morgan. He'll tear up the aisles on his quest for natural peanut butter. Say it's over there, and he'll be like, "That's a ridiculous place for the peanut butter." It is too. It really is a silly place to put the peanut butter, like over on the end
by the bread.
Well, it feels like the bread's in the wrong place too. Then I don't know.
And that's it. Last listener gone. We're alone now.
Wow, why? Sorry, man. I'm just.
Now we can just swear like crazy because the CRTC isn't even on anymore.
We're fired from our volunteer positions.
Yeah.
All right. But there is stuff to talk about.
There is. Actually, tonight, I thought we'd play a little game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So there was a council meeting.
Yeah.
It was yesterday.
Yeah.
And so I thought, people find council kind of boring, so I thought we could spice it up with a little bit of like a game show kind of thing. Yeah. Or more like we'll just segue into it right now.
Let's hear it.
Tonight we're going to play Can Council Make Aidan's Head Explode?
Probably.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I have not listened to any clips of anything from council. I do know one thing, which, so my head has come pre-exploded to this hour.
Yeah, I don't think this is actually going to be too hard.
Okay.
Frankly.
Okay.
Yeah. So yesterday at City Council, everything was going along perfectly fine.
Yes.
Okay. There was, the odd report, a little bit of debate here and there. We had, a tax report that went through. We had a taxi bylaw report that went through. The complete communities report that went through. Everything was going along just swimmingly. And then, do you remember Councillor Victoria Flores?
I do. We had her on the show recently.
Yes.
She was a super cool counselor. And
do you remember how she had this motion that was coming to the next council meeting that was about food security?
Yeah. Yes, I
And
do.
and she was very excited about it because she'd worked very hard on this motion with the community, with city administration. She was looking forward to showing this off to the city and to city council, and it going through and getting a big thumbs up.
When you work hard on a sensible proposal with the good of the city's constituents, that's what happens.
Yeah, but that's not what happened. This is the motion where everything went off the rails, Aidan.
Wow, okay.
So the first delegation was the Good Trouble Network. And you may remember Cale McClellan.
I do remember Cale.
Well, Cale McClellan is one of Good Trouble. And she was there with Tiro Matembu.
I don't know Tiro Matembu.
Okay, he was one of the people who was behind the Hampton Hub.
Oh, wait, I do know Tiro. Yes,
right.
Yes.
So Tiro and Cale showed up representing the Good Trouble Network, and what they were there to talk about was this plan that they had worked on with Councillor Flores. So Good Trouble, what they've been doing is they've been giving away food to people who need food. Houseless people, vulnerable people, people who need food.
That sounds pretty evil, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just giving it away to them.
Oh, man.
And what they needed is they've been working with some professors at the University of Regina to turn this into a thing, to turn this into to get together a business plan and make this a whole program, a project, so that it would be sustainable.
A business plan for giving away food?
Yeah.
What communist magic, what witchcraft are these people employing?
The power of commerce. Oh, grants. A lot of grants.
Right, yes.
Yeah. So, by the way, we're on 91.3 FM CJTR Regina Community Radio. We're the Queen City Improvement Bureau, and we're talking about the April 9th, 2025 City Council meeting. So, Good Trouble Network, they present this. They get some questions from Councillor David Froh from Ward 3 and from Councillor Victoria Flores, who brought this motion forward. And basically the substance of the motion is Good Trouble Network to give away food needs a space to do it in now, so they can prepare the food and make meals and, interact with people and just, have a stable place from which to do this.
Right.
And so they would like to rent a room in the old number 1 fire hall for $1 a month, and then they'll be able to have a little bit of security for the future of this project.
Also, a good location for this kind of thing.
Exactly, right in the Heritage neighborhood where there's a lot of people who need this. So they finished their presentation, they got their questions,
and then everything went fine.
You wish.
Okay.
So one of the professors from the University of Regina, who I mentioned, has been working with them on this, training them up on how to develop a business plan, how to use social media to promote stuff, how to get grants. One of those professors, a Dr. Peter Mraz from the Faculty of Business Administration, showed up at council to say, hey, I support this. I've been working with them. These are good kids.
Yep.
They're working hard for the community.
A business prof. Hey, it's hard to get a better endorsement or recommendation, I would say.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow. He finished talking about what he's been doing to help them out and how great a job they're doing. And hey, why don't you give them that space? When Councillor Bizzo decided to ask some questions. So I'm going to play that for you right now and see if it makes your head explode.
Okay.
Good. No, I was just trying to get some more information behind what the whole program is all about and what has been on the Facebook page. And one thing, or actually there's several things that I'm going to say is very concerning about Good Trouble, about this group coming to the table. It seems like they're very much, they do some community well-being, but they're also very much involved with political extremism. They've ran a campaign for defund the police based.
Councillor Bezo, this is about the motion at hand, so... Okay, just hold on 1 second. So I just want to make sure it's one, in tune with this motion, and two, that we're asking questions. So I just want to make sure those are two things.
Thank you. Yeah, so as I went on the Facebook page, I found that there's defund the police, they support Hamas, they block trains. So what is the intent here? And you're not coming to the table with insurance. So what is the intent? What is your ask? And it previously called council a bunch of clowns. So what is the ask of this?
Why are you asking me?
Well, you said you were supporting Good Trouble.
Councillor Bezo, we're not going to get into debate. If you have a question related to the motion, let's stick to that.
Yeah, that is the question that gets around the...
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, so, sorry, leaving the character comments aside, with respect to the motion at hand, using the space, the physical space, what is your question?
What is the space going to be used for? Is the space going to be used for kind of an ideology training ground, or is it going to be used for delivering actually something to the community?
I already said this isn't about ideology.
So it's an ideology.
No, I believe that for the record you said not about ideology.
Okay.
So those are the questions that Councillor Bezo had, not for the Good Trouble Network, but for Peter Mraz, the professor who's been advising them.
I'm thinking, if he takes offense at somebody calling the council a bunch of clowns, perhaps not donning the paint and jumping out of a car would be a good start. Like, don't behave in a clownish, ridiculous manner. Like, I don't know, when somebody says to me it's not ideology, my response is not usually to say, so it's ideology then. Like, I don't know. I think a clown. I mean, often clowns don't talk, but which is nice. I think a clown would actually probably be enough of an adult to know the difference between a positive and a negative statement. I was kind of hoping that I would never have to hear that, but I guess I did.
Yeah.
So,
well,
jeez.
I will say, so far in our game, your head is still intact, although it's throbbing.
Yeah, I know. It's like I said, I knew a little bit about that.
Yeah.
So a little bit of, so I came with like a slightly pre-exploded head.
Oh.
So bear that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed how the question of defund the police and supporting Hamas seems to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly confident that what's going on here is that they actually expressed support for Palestine, and they were taking some issue with the genocide. And I suspect that's been translated.
You know what I'd do if I were Kale Montero, and I got that space. If I were to get that space, I would serve hummus. I would serve hummus and pita
to Councillor Bezo,
or to anybody, or I'd just have some baba ganoush for them, and maybe some lamb.
Yeah,
and say enjoy.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Here, it's my from the river to the sea special. Yeah. Here you go.
My other favorite thing is we all know the Good Trouble Network, maybe not by the name, but by a lot of the personalities that are involved.
Great name, by the way.
Right?
It's a venerable, like the concept of Good Trouble, venerable concept. I quite like it. I'm glad they've picked that up. A
lot of their issue that they took with council was the last council, right? And it was around a lot of the housing stuff that was going on there.
Of course.
And for Councillor Bizzo, who basically got elected by calling the previous council clowns, to be, pointing fingers at the Good Trouble Network for basically agreeing with him is pretty rich.
It is. It is beyond rich. It is. It is a meme coin of rarest value.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, man. I'm glad, though, that, everybody sort of maybe put, their coats and bags on Clark Bizzo and continued on with the meeting, and everything went smoothly, though.
Oh. Well, then, let's see what happens next.
Okay.
And this is literally what happens next at this meeting. And, it's more questions for Professor Mraz.
Ooh.
We'll go to Councillor Sickleys. Go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor. Thank you for coming to speak to us, Dr. Mraz. If I heard correctly, you said you have a grant that helps support Good Trouble. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
And I assume that grant is for, regular operations.
What it is for what we do is called participatory action research. Basically, what we do is we help the community with identifying problems.
Yeah.
They figure out what those problems are. We help them with how they sort of want to develop those solutions, and whether that comes through funding meetings, funding research capacity building, funding research students to go in and help do certain specific things, from social media to from helping out with whatever that they're doing in terms of networking or learning how to sort of build capacity. That's kind of what those grants are for. So they are learning as they are doing, and we're helping to sort of facilitate that.
You mentioned social media. Are you aware of the posts that the organization puts out?
It's not my focus.
Would you think that would be important if you're funding something that includes social media, that you would have some sort of oversight of that?
Why would I have oversight of it? It's a community-led project.
Right. You said you're paying for it.
I'm not paying
funding
for it.
Well, maybe we should have asked this to the group before you, I guess, because I'm seeing things on social media that don't look like they're courageous, compassionate, or lifting up.
Okay, so same thing, Councillor Sickleys. So the motion at hand is for physical space for a group that's talking about food security. Okay. I think we need to separate political, things that we're talking about. The motion at hand is a physical space for a community group for food security.
The separation of political is not on me to do. It's on somebody else.
All right, that was Councillor Sickleys asking questions of Peter Mraz. It's like you're playing the Sickleys-ophone.
That is perhaps one of the most annoying verbal tics I've ever heard. With apologies to Councillor Sickleys, that I do not like to hear that. This sort of dogging of this person, and they don't have the courage to ask these questions to the actual people who can answer. They have to come after somebody else because he can't answer them. It is cowardly and vile. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
They should actually talk to the Good Trouble Network.
For which they had no questions. And
I thought, of course they have no questions, because they know they could not possibly, the Good Trouble Network would not possibly put up with that nonsense.
Yeah.
So they have to talk to somebody who is just simply going to say, this has got nothing to do with me, which just gives them an opportunity to continue to, say,
Yeah. Something that isn't obvious because this is radio is Good Trouble Network. The optics of this. Good Trouble Network was represented by Tiro and Kale, a black man and an Indigenous woman.
Oh, yes. So they didn't want to bully a black man and an Indigenous woman, hey?
No.
Huh.
No, but they were happy to ignore them and not ask them any questions or allow them to defend themselves, and instead took their questions to a white professor.
Of course they did. Yeah. Because that's the person who must be running things.
Yeah.
I find this pretty nasty stuff.
Yeah. It is pretty terrible. Yeah. And this was supposed to be an easy win for council, a good news story.
Yeah. An embarrassment.
An utter embarrassment.
Anyway, but after that, everything went smoothly, right, Paul?
Well, I tell you what. Let's go to Innovative Revenue Tools.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll play a little more Can Council Make Aidan's Head Explode? All right, and we're back from Innovative Revenue Tools on 91.3 FM, CJTR, AccessNow Community Radio in the mighty Queen City.
Hello. So
we're going to play a little more. We're going to play round 2 of Can Council Make Aidan's Head Explode?
Okay.
All right. So, Councillor Bizot got in on the action. He kicked things off with his questions for Peter Mraz.
Yes.
Who's supporting the Good Trouble Network.
Wait, I thought he was running the whole thing. I thought he was pulling all the string. I thought he was the puppet master, Paul.
Oh, you got to stop listening to Councillor Bizot.
Oh, okay.
Clearly.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't read his newsletter.
Yeah, okay. No, I've got to stop going out for drinks with Bizot.
Yeah, don't listen to his podcast either. And then Councillor Seekleys got in on the action, also asking questions of Dr. Peter Mraz. He finished. We finally got past Dr. Peter Mraz, and we moved on to the next delegation was Wendy Miller from the Heritage Community Association.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now Wendy Miller, she was attending virtually, and she just said, look, the Heritage Community Association, we support what they're doing. This will actually be taking place in the old number 1 fire hall, so it'll be where Heritage Community Association used to be based. They're now across the street in the new building, or the renovated building. And so she was like, yep, we totally support what they're doing, and we want to help them out. We are going to need, some more like funding for our association, because this is not without cost, but we're down with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And then Councillor Rasevich had some questions for Wendy Miller.
If there's any questions for Wendy here from Council. Councillor Rasevich, go ahead.
Through the chair. Hey, Wendy, just kind of want to follow up on what Councillor Bezos was talking about. Are you aware of Good Trouble's, other activist endeavors?
I am totally aware of many of the grassroots that we are working with and their media posts, etc. I think the difference is that we are focusing in on this specific project and how we would align it with HCA to get this job done. And so in looking at that and narrowing it down, I feel confident that HCA is able to hold this lease and also to manage this project with Good Trouble with a memorandum of understanding and to move forward in proper manner to get the job done.
It just puts us sometimes in a particular situation too with our residents in the city when they see certain things about certain, I'm just saying certain groups, and I just wonder if you would concur with that.
I'm not saying that we support everything that's posted, or I'm not saying that HCA supports everything that we hear, whether that be in regards to what we see on Just Bins about, anything and everything versus, the grassroots organizations. As for HCA ourselves, we actually released a Defund the Police Me not so many years ago as well. So, I think we value and we know sometimes it's healthy to disagree. And I think that that's a different part of a relationship and owning that and having those hard conversations of what's working and what's not working and what our expectations are with this potential lease.
All right.
I heard a little there as well.
Yeah, that was Councillor Rasevich asking questions of Wendy Miller from the HCA, the Heritage Community Association.
It's funny that these three councillors all seem to have the same kinds of questions. not for the people who are involved and like funding and supporting Good Trouble.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost as if they're trying to like undercut Good Trouble by trying to shame their supporters or something.
Funny that.
Yeah, and they're all three of them seem to have the bright idea to have done this as well.
Yeah.
Just really great governing. Just a real vision of how to like lead our city.
Yeah. One after the other.
Improve the lives of our constituents.
Yeah. I did enjoy Wendy Miller's mention of Just Bins, because
Wonderful.
Bezo, Rasovich, and Sickles, there's no distinction between them and what they're saying and what people see on Just Bins. It is like Just Bins is tipping its bin into their brains and filling them up with ideas and talking points.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're tipping over and like just spewing those contents.
Yeah.
Yeah, into council.
Councillor Bezo started all this like being afraid that Good Trouble Network was going to turn a room in the old number 1 fire hall
into a Hamas training ground.
Yeah, an ideological training ground.
Right.
And it's always revealing when conservatives like this start to point fingers, because it's always a confession.
It's always projection.
Yeah. That they're so worried about other people's ideology when that's all they have.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've not that I know what is inside the minds of Bezo and Sickles and perhaps Rasovich, but I find that the psychology of conservatives often they believe that everyone else is like them. They have no vision beyond frankly a kind of like reactionary pettiness, so they imagine everybody else must be the same way.
Yeah.
If just as say, and I'm not saying this about these councillors, racists often believe that everyone else is actually racist. They just don't say it.
Right.
Like but they say it like it is.
Yeah.
And I find that often with conservatives, that's often the thing. They think that everybody thinks like them. They're just too cowed or too politically correct. They don't have a vision of another world, of another way of thinking, of another way of like looking at things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost
but
like
I could be wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong about them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm willing to be open to the possibility that these councillors are not like I'm saying.
I think some masks have been coming off. Here we are, and going into Q2 of 2025, their first year on council.
But it's a good strategy though, like because if you're a conservative and you're kind of in the minority on council overall, a good way to do it is to try and undermine progressive causes by sort of by trying to undermine support and being united that way, and stopping good things from happening.
Yeah.
And not even big deals either.
No, that's the other thing.
Comes down to it.
The space that they want to use in the old number 1 fire hall, it's not in use right now. It's community association has moved out of the building, so there's some underused space in that building. That's why they were looking at it. I believe it has a kitchen in it. I'm actually almost positive it has a kitchen in it. And so it's space that already needs to be heated, that already has power being delivered to it.
Okay.
That is underused. So administration expects that it's going to cost about $50,000 a year to operation cost for this room, but a lot of that is like overhead that they would have been paying anyways. So the costs to the city are minuscule. And when city manager Nikki Anderson was asked about that cost, that $50,000 a year, she said, look, you guys have sent me back to find $1.5 million in savings this year during the budget. Finding another $50,000 is nothing.
Yeah, this is change in the couch.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, now that we've head still mostly intact.
Mostly intact.
Yeah. Let's move on to some of the other responses, some of the other heads that exploded at this council meeting. Next up, I wanted to play the tail end of Councillor Zakidniak from Ward 8. Her response to the lines of questioning that she witnessed at council.
Okay, thank you. So focusing on the motion, let's remember that we're simply being asked to support and organize a network of folks who are already doing this work by giving them space and leasing something to them at a $1 per month rate. Partial tax exemption, like this. These are very basic asks in my mind to support work that folks see a gap in the community and they are taking the initiative on their own. And frankly, first of all, I'm very supportive of this, and hope that we can continue to support this group's efforts. And I'm frankly embarrassed that folks came out with a solution to help us meet our goals as a council, our strategic priorities, and what happens? People start attacking them, but not even to their face. Not even so that they have the opportunity to respond once they return to the gallery. So we talked about them, but not to them. I think it's embarrassing, and I just wanted to note that. But I fully support this motion and the solid work that's being done. Thank you.
That was Councillor Zakidniak responding.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I echo Councillor Zakidniak's sentiments. Long live DJ Sky Morgan.
Yeah. Yeah, I think she summed up what a lot of people were feeling at this meeting. It was a pretty embarrassing and disgusting display. And again, we said it before, this was supposed to be a good news story for council.
Yeah.
And they turned it into a bad one.
Yep. I mean, we should be used to it by now. They did a lot of that with the previous council.
Yeah.
Just taking like small good things and turning them to like huge bad things.
Yeah.
But this feels like a new frontier.
Yeah.
In just, I don't know, just it feels like there is a term for it that I can't say on air. But it's got 3 syllables, starts with rat.
Oh.
The last 2 syllables rhyme with schmucking.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's it. Oh, and it's something, but it feels like it's something small. It's like a test.
Yeah.
It's like they're launching a little pilot program of rat schmucking.
Yes.
And to see if they can maybe rat schmuck on a larger scale.
Yeah.
So let's see if they try it again. They'll try it again.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. There was another moment in here, and this was a result of a question from Councillor Bizo.
Mm-hmm.
So once all the delegations were done, the council gets their chances to ask administration questions. And Councillor Bizo asked a question of admin, which was basically, he noted once again that he has some trouble with this Good Trouble network. And he wanted to know what issues they've caused on city property in the past. And the city solicitor pointed out, well, first of all, that because he was also concerned about leasing and insurance. But he asked this question. The city solicitor pointed out, first of all, that the actual contract would be between the city and the Heritage Community Association, because the Good Trouble Network is an informal network. It is not a legal entity. So the city has to make contracts and MOUs between legal entities.
Mm-hmm.
And, and basically she made it sound like it would be the responsibility of the HCA to sort of police the use of that space.
Right. A notably pro-Hamas organization.
Yeah.
Yes.
But City Manager Nikki Anderson took this moment to talk a little bit about her experiences with the Good Trouble Network, and I think it's very interesting. Oop.
Thank you. Through the mayor, I think what I would say, my relationship with Good Trouble has been complicated. When I first started, 21 days in was when I got sued for not solving homelessness, and I personally became a target for those trying to solve issues around houselessness. And I think that I was not a favorite of Good Trouble Network, and personally felt targeted. And I would say that Good Trouble has been vocal about some decisions made around council, that type of thing. I would say what I love in a relationship is when you can take something negative and try and turn it to a place where we can work together and not against each other. And so I would say in my 2+ years of being here, I am in a place now where I've gone on walks with Good Trouble. I've seen the great work that they do in the community. It doesn't mean that I agree with everything that they do or that they say, but I am appreciating how the relationship has evolved. And I would say as city council, the more you can draw in and work with those that are most opposed to you, when you actually want common outcomes, it's a good thing. And so I wouldn't speak to the legal part of it, but like the contract absolutely would have to be incredibly clear and that type of thing. But I will always welcome an opportunity to work with those who don't trust us, but who actually want the same outcomes.
So that was City Manager Nikki Anderson.
All right. That was when that recording started, my head was getting set to explode because I thought that Nikki Anderson was about to relitigate stuff from an incredibly difficult time with the city. But it's really nice to hear her say, and I totally agree. Like Good Trouble, you could say they're agitators, but they do. They agitate for things, and their ideas and their methods are not going to be the same as politicians sitting in council, but they want the same outcomes. Yeah. And they're not, it's not like they're going around like, it's not 1970. Nobody's firebombing a bank. Come on. Yeah. Seriously, come on. Yeah. They do community building. Think about it.
Yep. Yeah. And they came to council and were respectful and polite, came with a business plan. And basically said, let's evolve this relationship to a new level to help people.
Right.
And I thought the city manager's response to this and to the questioning was incredibly gracious, considering everything that had gone on, and that it was these three guys who were not on the last council, barely conscious of what was going on at City Hall, who were carrying the torch for this grievance from from the previous 4 years.
Bizarre.
When Nikki Anderson, Councillor Zakidniak, who was also on that previous council, they were all able to grow and change and work towards a better outcome. And these three dudes were just not going to let them do that.
I think they sit up at night being angry at what they imagine the Good Trouble Network says about them. I bet they just sit there going, I bet they're saying things and having a good time being all lefty. Yeah. Just getting worked up over phantoms.
Yeah. So it was a frustrating process, but in the end, last little salvo towards your brain.
Yes.
The vote happened.
Cool.
Councillor Flores gave closing remarks that were very good. I should have probably brought them, but I did not. Just as like a palate cleanser for you.
Thank you.
And so the vote happened, and her motion passed.
Yeah.
10-0.
10-0.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So a certain councillor, Bezo,
who abstained.
He just left the building. Well, actually didn't leave the building. He just left the room. So he's there to like cause a disturbance through the course of the discussion. And then when the vote comes along, he just leaves a spinning chair behind. And he's just not there to vote. And either be seen breaking the unanimity, or I don't know who he's performing for, but he can't be seen to vote for it either.
Well, so sad.
Yeah. Anyways, and he did come back. He was there for the rest of the meeting, and the meeting went late. It was another like 1 o'clock start, and it ran for like 9 to 10 hours.
Wow, so that's imagine doing a meeting after that.
Yeah, because this was at the 1/3 to 1/2 point of this meeting. They still had a ton of stuff to go through.
What other stuff did they go through?
Well, first of all, I thought I should mention we're on 91.3 FM CJTR, AccessNow Community Radio in Regina. There was that tax report, and that was a little bit interesting because what the city administration wanted to do is they wanted to phase in. So this was a reassessment year, so everybody's property got reassessed. Mm-hmm. Some properties got reassessed up, some properties got reassessed down. The whole process is revenue neutral. So for the city, it doesn't matter who's going up, who's going down. They're not making any more money off the reassessments. It all works out. But for commercial property holders, the increases were quite high, and so administration was recommending that they phase in over 2 years the reassessment for these commercial properties. And that's about 3,000 properties, 4,000 properties in the city. Okay? Mm-hmm. Well, there were some residents in places like Ward 4, places where their houses are assessed at like $1 million. Or so.
$1 million.
And they saw their property taxes go way up this time. It affected about 1% of the houses in the city.
Okay.
But there were some significant increases in property tax assessments for the new home upper end of the market. And some councillors have been getting, like, their phones have been ringing off the hook over this. And there have been expressing the frustrations of these residents at council. So what they proposed was that we should phase in the property reassessment to every property in the city.
Just spread the pain around.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to feel a bite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, city administration said, hey, man, that goes from like 3,000 to 4,000 properties to 79,000 properties that we're going to have to do this with. And these are complicated calculations because they're not phasing in the mill rate. And they're also not, if a house has been improved and its property taxes go up because of that, or if it's been embiggened and its property taxes go up, that's not being phased in either. It's just the reassessment. So they have to go through each property that needs to be phased in, and they have to do the calculations effectively by hand.
That sounds exhausting.
And they have done this before. I think it was in 87 and 91 when they did this, and they had to have a legion of bookkeepers. Apparently, this is not something that just anybody in the finance department can do. It's a special skill set to be able to do this accurately. And then on top of it, there's going to be a lot of people who've been told what their reassessment is, and then either they're going to be going up and not seeing that increase on their property tax bills, or they were reassessed down and they're not getting the tax cut that they were hoping to get from their property values going down. Gotcha. Because the reassessment phase-in will be happening for every property, whether their property value went up or down. And so the last 2 times that they did this, they had to have 12 people whose job it was to answer phones and walk people through the process of how this reassessment phase-in worked. So this was going to be very expensive, very time-consuming. It meant that administration wasn't going to be able to get to some other work that was kind of important. Yeah. So Councillor Siklis had this idea to help the people who are listening, the people like you and me, the people who are listening.
He's got our backs.
Right, so that we can learn how this works and spread the news, spread the word about reassessment phase-in and save them some bucks. And let's see how that went.
The remedy here is worse than the disease. And a couple weeks ago, Mr. Anderson and I were going through some of these examples on what it would look like. Is there a possibility to just pull an address now without identifying it to the cameras and just doing one that has dropped in value and just do a quick calculation on what that would look like for residents? Would that be helpful?
Through the chair, potentially without bringing up a property, I could probably try and do a quick explanation. I said I could probably try and just do a quick explanation on what that would look like.
With numbers?
So let's say property's assessed value decreased by $50,000, and then their tax decrease, I'm not going to use real taxes, but their tax decrease related to that was a $1,000 decrease in municipal property tax. So what the phase-in adjustment would be for that decrease would be just half of their decrease would be applied as an adjustment. And so now, sorry, I lost track what I said their property taxes was going to be.
You said it
was a $50,000 deduction in property tax. They would see a $25,000 reduction in 2025, and then in 2026 they would receive the whole $50,000 adjustment.
Right, but how many houses in North Central are going down by $50,000 value? I don't think that's a reasonable number.
No. So if you're looking for, real kind of dollar value, just give me a second. I can see if I can get some numbers. What might be helpful is the average increase in property taxes for residential single-family homes was $204, and the average decrease was $216. So for most homes, we're looking at phasing in an increase of $102 and phasing in a decrease of $108.
Yeah, I don't think that helps. I think we need to see a real house with a real number.
All right, that was Councillor Sickley's asking for some numbers and finding out, yes, indeed, calculating the reassessment phase-in is complicated.
Yeah, I don't think that helps.
Yeah.
That's, I want to put that on a T-shirt. Yeah, I don't think that helps. Fair enough. Yeah, no, frankly, I was like, what, like, why is this being asked, obviously, and how can this possibly help you get your head around the scope of what the problem or the issue is?
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds. I don't even know what to say. I just heard a bunch of numbers, frankly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of where Sickless is right now.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is the point, right? That this is an incredibly difficult thing that you can't just do on the floor of council and then have the media explain it instead of City Hall.
Yeah.
So this would have been a massive undertaking. It would have meant that multiple projects that the finance department is undertaking would have to have been delayed or kiboshed. And it was incredibly inefficient. And yet, Councillor Sickley's, Mancinelli, Burton, Bizo, and Rasevich all voted for this phase-in. It failed in a 6-5 vote, but it was the efficiency caucus voting in favor of arguably the most inefficient way to go about implementing a reassessment. And they wonder why council seems inefficient to the outside world. Anyways. On that note, that is what we've had this week at City Council. Your head is still intact.
Yep.
For the most part.
I don't think that helps.
No. But we should probably wrap things up because we're running out of time here.
Okay, well, in that case, I move to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
All right, motion is passed. Meeting adjourned. You've been listening to the Queen City Improvement Bureau on 91.3 FM, CJTR, AccessNow Community Radio. Tune into the community. Your hosts are Paul Shen and Aidan Morgan. Music by Guidewire, a.k.a. Ryan Hill. We are broadcast live Thursday evening, 7 to 8 p.m. Rebroadcast Monday afternoons, 3 to 4 p.m. You can find us on the radio, on CJTR.ca, on our website, QueenCityIB.com. Remember, that's Improvement Bureau, not Irritable Bowel. Also, we're out there floating around. Find us on Blue Sky. You can see Paul's takes on City Hall, etc., and my ramblings about things, and my unwavering support for ideology. All right. I think that's it. Keep on improving, Regina. I don't think that helps.